I used to think that I'm the smartest thing in my garden, but I'm not so sure about that anymore now that AI has found its way into my garden. Join me today as I show you how I set up and begin using my smart Tempest weather station. Hi, I'm Gardener Scott, and I'll admit I'm a weather geek. I think that serious gardeners should pay a lot of attention to the weather. So I have a weather station. Well, actually now I have two weather stations. For years and years, I've watched the forecasts and I've monitored and documented the weather that's happening in my garden. And with experience, over time, I've gotten pretty good at figuring out what's going to happen in my garden, when I need to protect the plants, when I need to put the plants in the ground even, or when I need to harvest. But now, with this Tempest weather station, it does a lot of that work for me. Unlike most other weather stations that just give you data, this system actually gives you a forecast that is individualized for your specific garden. Right here, right now, that's telling me what my weather's going to be. Today, tomorrow, next week, it's incredible. Here's how it works. My Tempest is connected to my home Wi-Fi and is constantly taking data readings. That data is sent to WeatherFlow's data processing center, where quality control inspections are checking my raw data. And then my data for my garden is then combined with the data from nearby Tempest weather stations, from radar, from satellites, from ground stations, and all of that data is then combined for real-time analysis. That analysis is taking this data for my garden and then using the European Global Forecast Model and the forecasting models from NOAA to then give me a forecast for this spot right here. And all I have to do is pull out my phone, pull up the app, and I have a forecast for what's going to happen today and tomorrow and next week. And I'm pretty confident this is accurate. Installing the weather station is incredibly easy. There are no moving parts. There's no plastic pieces to snap together. Everything comes consolidated in one electronic package. And you have the option of mounting it to a post or to a PVC or steel pipe. When you open the box, you'll see how easy this really is. There's a single sheet that has instructions on the front and the back. And then when you pull out the protective cardboard, you see it. And this is it. This is the entire unit. At the base, you have a nice little thank you from the person that packaged the box. In this case, it was Lauren. And that's where you have the plug, the Wi-Fi connector, and then the extra mount. It comes with a mount for putting it on a post, and then it has a secondary mount for attaching it to a pole. It took me a few tries to figure out just exactly how the mount connected to the unit, but once I got it aligned, it locked, and everything was ready to go. I was planning on mounting my weather station on this steel pipe that is 10 feet tall, and I was going to put it in the center of my garden. For stability, I wanted to dig a hole and anchor it, but my ground has been frozen for so long I couldn't dig a hole. And then I found out that there was an optional wall mount, and that's what I decided to use. I decided that my shed was the ideal spot for mounting it. I took the base of the universal mount, put it where I wanted the mount to go, and then marked the holes where the screws would hold it in place. And then I pre-drilled the mounting holes using the pencil marks as a guide. And then I attached the base plate with the screws that come with the universal mount kit. I went ahead and attached the support post to the base that was anchored to my shed, and then I was ready to attach the weather station. All I had to do was loosen up the pipe clamp that was already in place, slide it in position, and then tighten it. And then once it was tight, all I had to do was tighten the bolts that hold everything erect. Now, I did use a level to make sure that everything was perfectly plumb as I was tightening the bolts. And they're designed that you can do it this way. It's a wing nut, and all you have to do is finger tighten those wing nuts as part of the final installation. Be sure you take all necessary safety precautions when you're mounting your weather station. If you're putting it on top of a fence post or an iron pole, you probably don't need to worry too much, but climbing 15 feet in the air to mount it, I made sure that my ladder was firm on the ground, and I took my time going up and down with all of the parts and all of my tools. And before you get all the way up there, know which direction is north and south, because there is a marker on the unit so that you can align it. In the northern hemisphere, you want to align it to the north. In the southern hemisphere, you want to align it to the south. There are little solar panels on it. That's what powers the whole unit. And you need to make sure that those solar panels are going to be directed to the sun, or else the unit's not going to work. I turned on the weather station with the little switch at the base before I mounted it. Make sure you don't forget that step. And then I plugged in the transmitter to my Wi-Fi system, went to my phone, downloaded the app, and in just a couple minutes, everything was ready to go. Now, this app really is pretty incredible. It's giving me real-time information and the forecast as well, but it allows me to set some notices, some alarms if I want. It can send me alerts if I have lightning in the area, which is pretty important if you're outside and gardening. And just in the last couple days, I've had 32 lightning strikes in this area. We've had a couple days of some pretty big thunderstorms. Not only is it keeping track of the lightning, but it tells me when it's arriving so that I can get in and be safe. I can also set up alerts to notify me when it starts raining. And one of the really cool things about this system is you can integrate it with your smart home. So it's a smart unit. You can tie it into your thermostat. Based on the outside temperature, if it's hot or cold, it can direct when your furnace or air conditioner turns on if you're not at home. If you've got a sprinkler system, you can integrate it with your sprinkler system so that when it starts raining, this Tempest weather station knows to turn off your irrigation so that you're not wasting water. You can even tie it into your garage door. So if it starts getting too windy, it'll close your garage door. You can also link it to Alexa and Siri, and anytime you ask for the weather, you're getting real-time data from your garden, not just whatever the National Weather Service is saying the weather's going to be. Have you ever done that? You ask for the weather and it says it's sunny, and you look outside and it's rainy. No more will you have the problem. The Tempest weather station is monitoring 15 different aspects of weather. Now, I don't have all of those smart components in my house. So I'm not linking it to my furnace or my garage door or my irrigation system. But I am planning on linking it to WeatherBug and Weather Underground. Those are organizations that compile information for all of us to use. And this is accurate enough to be part of that system. And by being part of that system, I can see what's happening in other areas. I like the localized, personalized aspect of the Tempest, but by being part of a network, I can see what's coming. It's giving me a forecast based on all of those integrations. And I could get lazy and just wait for it to tell me what's going to happen. But remember, I'm a weather geek. I like to be involved. I like to see what's causing the weather in my garden, in addition to being able to monitor it. And now this is also a log. It's keeping track of everything that's happening in my garden. Of course, I'll have a link below to WeatherFlow and Tempest so you can check out the system for your own. Right now, I'm pretty excited. And in just a few days I've had it set up, I've had wind, I've had rain, I've had heat, I've had cold, and it's told me all of that more accurately than what I saw online, on the news, and in the newspaper. WeatherFlow guarantees that accuracy. If you find that it's not more accurate than other sources, WeatherFlow will give you your money back. That's pretty impressive. There's a lot about the Tempest that's impressive. I'm Gardener Scott. Enjoy gardening.